Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot session today, September 13th, 2024. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. So let's start out by saying hi to those of you who made the chat. Good evening, Lisa. Good to see you, Gandhi. Much love. Nikosmas. Good to see you, D-Love. Mukio, great to see you. Geronimo, good to see you. Leslie, much love. Good to see you, Valerie. Thank you guys for joining. Isaac, good to see you. Welcome. Holler Haint, good to see you. Thank you. Taz, good to see you. Mother Rhea, all the love. Christy, great to see you. Stoic Dissension, much love, much love. Thank you all for joining. This is fun. All right. Let's begin by talking a bit about the astrology. So we're still in the moon in Capricorn, that earth energy, that grounded energy, that hard-working energy, that harsh energy, right? And now's the time to really reflect upon our surroundings and to really connect to our body and to the earth, to really take account of our health, of our present, of where we are going and where we intend to go, how we are going to get there, and what we need to do to transform. Capricorn is that capable energy. It's that committed energy, disciplined energy, and we can utilize this to its full extent under this sun in Virgo. Virgo is that energy that prepares for the harvest, the one who perfects herself through her own means and manages to transcend to the stars, right? Combine these energies and we can move mountains. You can build and go and do what is necessary. Powerful energy, but also intense energy. Recognize that both of these energies are critical and can also be harsh. And we don't want that over criticism to prevent us from moving or to be cruel. So balance that energy with a little bit of joy and embrace the movement at the same time. Do and be in flow, and everything will be all right. Love it, love it, love it. When I was meditating this morning and thinking about the cards, I drew the Hierophant, one of my favorites, Venus in Taurus, right? The goddess Hera, Hathor, incredible energy, traditional energy, the energy of the teacher, the energy also, though, of the priest in that traditional authority, that spirituality, that traditional law that manifests in that deep way, that unconscious way, that subtle way, But it is that power that is equal to the emperor, right? The power behind the throne, the merging of church and state, so to speak, Incredible, incredible energy. And what I was getting here is this idea of embodying the Hierophant, being the one who can connect to that goddess energy and give voice to her, to have that totality of faith in oneself, right? To have the power to just be true. That's incredible, And that is what it's about. To be able to manifest the mystery, you have to be honest and true to oneself, but also have to just be that person, be that bright, shining light. Say and be in love, right? And that's how you connect in that profound way. And also look for the teachers. Look for the teachers. Look for those who can offer you something. Recognize that it's not about binding oneself to another's way, but rather learning from them, their perspective, and incorporating it into your own, right? And I wanted to read to you guys an interesting poem here, because we're talking about connecting to the goddess and manifesting mystery and being in that trust and being honest. And to me, that is symbolized in this descent into the forest, going into nature, right? Where there is that potential for the wildness, but being in that trust and in that honest approach without desire for possession. The goddess, you cannot try to possess her. You have to adore her and respect her. You have to move in that way. And to enter into her woods, right, is to be susceptible to that violence, to that pain. But to really embrace the mystery is to accept and to be in that trust, to be in the woods and to be in trust, right? So I want to read to you this poem. It's called The Goddess in the Wood by Rupert Brooke. In a flowered dell the Lady Venus stood, amazed with sorrow. Down the morning one, far golden horn in the gold of trees and sun, rang out and held and died. She thought the wood grew quieter, wing and leaf and pool of light forgot to dance. Dumb lay the unfalling stream. Life, one eternal instant, rose and dream, clear out of time, poised on a golden height, till a swift terror broke the abrupt hour. The gold waves purled amidst the green above her, and a bird sang with one sharp taken breath by sunlit branches and unshaken flower. The immortal limbs flashed to the human lover, and the immortal eyes to look on death. Really, to be in that nature and to see the totality of the forest is to see that goddess at play, to see the balance and to see the cycles of death and rebirth and how everything plays and interconnects with one another, right? And to be in her presence and to truly see her, you have to be in that honesty and in that truth, at least from your perspective, Beautiful. All right. So let us begin today with our Ganapati Oracle. Ganapati Ganesha is that divine child, the Lord of beginnings, guardian of the threshold. Oh, wow. And they're shooting out at us. They got a message that needs to be said. All right. The message from Lord Ganesha, Ganapati, is protection. Protection. Wow. And look at him as that cosmic dancer in the suit of air, right? Swords, the intellect, where the true conflicts arise, and he is there to protect you. Beautiful energy. Recognize that we are protected, that we can enter into that forest, that we can go to the unconscious depths, that we can pursue the dream. There is nothing to fear, right? For we are guided. And it's beautiful. Recognize that you are loved and that you are blessed and that you can go into these places. And as long as you move in that flow with love and respect, you are welcome and you are protected. Beautiful. All right. Yeah. Beautiful. All right. We are now going to begin our sortes. And for those of you unaware, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is divination through literature, and it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. And we ask those goddesses of inspiration, the muses, to inspire us, to send us a message, and to guide us through the text. So today we are going to begin with Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus. It's a beautiful, beautiful text. Christopher Marlowe was a contemporary of Shakespeare, a brilliant writer, but sadly, his life ended short. But we do have a few great works, and one of them is Faustus. So, muses, what is the message from Faustus? Inspire us this evening. In all faith, he looks much like a conjurer. In all faith, he looks much like a conjurer. Looks can be deceiving, but also sometimes people are what they appear to be, right? What is the conjurer? What is the magician? The magician is both savior and ass. Both savior and ass. That is the paradox, you know. The key with that Hermes energy is always to look from where is he operating? What is the power behind Hermes, right? Do not look at where he is pointing. He seeks to distract you. Interesting. All right, let us continue. We're now going to go to Q by Luther Blissett. All right, Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Q? Inspire us. Because there's a good chance that it'll be banned. You can sell a clandestine book at whatever price you like, Capito, and people have high expectation about its content. It'll sell like hotcakes. Oh, how salacious material always tantalizes, and that which is occluded and hidden and obstructed, and even if it has a higher price, all the better. But it is nonsense. It is nonsense. Such nonsense. But that's what banning does, though, right? When you ban and you occlude something, what do? You attract people to it. You drive them there, right? You cause a reaction. The very thing that you seek to get rid of, you wind up manifesting. It's like a Barbra Streisand effect almost every time. You know? Interesting. Much to think on. And people always make money, right? Notice they ban things and then they exploit it for money. All right, let's continue. Of cosmogonic eros. Okay, Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Ludwig Klages in cosmogonic eros? They can be present there without anyone necessarily noticing them. Not everyone recognizes the secret signs of presence, and only the one transported in ecstasy receives the afflatus that overflows with a rippling shiver. Again, there are always levels of perception and awareness, you know, and there is always more going on than we are aware. And some may see and others may not. Not everyone recognizes the secret signs of their presence. And only the one transported in ecstasy receives the afflatus that overflows with a rippling shiver. Right? You have to be connected in order to engage. And you have to be knowledgeable to understand the signs. Multiple levels in order to engage. All right. Let us continue. We're now going to go to Umberto Eco in the Name of the Rose. Okay. Muses, what is the message from Umberto Eco? Inspire us. Okay. Only the last, concealed by a drawn curtain, was full, and next to it lay a garment in a heap. Only the last, concealed by a drawn curtain, was, and next to it lay a garment in a heap. Interesting. Last was concealed by a drawn curtain. We recognize that the gate is not really locked by a key, but rather it is a veil, right? It is a veil that is revealed through the expansion of perception, right? And like a veil, we brush it aside rather than open it. We rather learn to see through from an alternate perspective. an expanded perspective. And next to it lay a garment in a heap. Also, notice that to enter that final gate, to pass through that final veil, you must leave your clothes behind. Your garments are abandoned in a heap. The masks we wear, right? The images that make up a conception of us that exists in that moment. Maybe that has existed and has projected across time, but is simply that, a construct, right? A construct of experience. And experience must be abandoned as we move into greater perception. This is why a death is necessary for those apotheoses, a death and a rebirth, right? Interesting. Let's continue. The Voodoo Quantum Leap by Reginald Crosley. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Crosley? Inspire us. Energies are received through those chakras or psychic centers of the Samido and travel throughout in an intermingling network of psychic channels, which were known by ancient Hindus as nadis. Interesting. Talking about the body as a receiver, right? And recognizing that all of life is energetic, that touch is energetic, and that it is received through these receptors of energy, and he uses the example of the Indian tradition, right? The chakras. Now, he also speaks of much of the voodoo tradition, and the voodoo traditions have their own version of this, the point showed, the hot points, right? You see this in many different variations across different, traditions throughout the world. This recognition of the energy of the body and the powers of the body. You see a lot of this in Chinese magic. I'm not as familiar, but it's clearly there, All right, let's continue. All right, we're going to go to Byron. Okay, Byron. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lord Byron? To stay there had not answered her intent, but why? We leave the reader in the dark. To stay there had not answered her intent, but why? We leave the reader in the dark. To stay there. To stay is to stagnate and to eventually wind up in the dark, right? You must always continue in that pursuit of the light, that middle way, right? In that pursuit of expansion, of growth, of generation, and of wisdom. But why? We leave the reader in the dark. The intent is something you must discover, right? You must discover. You have to learn to shine that light. Often people ask, for answers, and they get frustrated with me because I don't give too many answers. Because 99% of the time, the answer isn't important, or it's only part of what's important. If you don't understand the question, if you don't know how you got there, it's not going to make any sense, right? It's that journey of discovery. You have to form new pathways in the brain. You have to struggle and grow. We all do, right? If you are just given answers, if you just cheat your way, you haven't learned anything, right? You know? And that's part of the struggle, So we leave the reader in the dark in terms of the mystery, because the mystery can be discovered for oneself, right? And you must learn to shine that light within and know the self. That's where the mystery lies. It doesn't lie in the book. The book can help you point the way. It can form a conversation that expands your perspective, right? But the real answers lie within. Okay. Let's continue. Dante, the Divine Comedy. All right, music's got my hand. What is the message from Dante? The temporal fires of purgatory and the eternal fires of hell. You have seen, my son, and have come to a place where I by myself can discern nothing further. The temporal fires of purgatory and the eternal fires of hell. You have seen, my son, and have come to a place where I by myself can discern nothing further. You have seen, and I can discern nothing further. The temporal fires of purgatory and the eternal of hell. You know, when I think upon these things, upon a Christian's idea of purgatory and hell, these places where you must wait for judgment or for forgiveness or salvation, or where you have to suffer eternally. It's such a wild, ridiculous thing. You know, and in my conception, when you look into the abyss, when you confront the hells and the demons and the Satans, you find that they're far less spooky. You know, I'm not saying that there is not terrible things out there. Of course there are. But when you learn to understand something, you can overcome something. You can understand its nature and in its relation to your reality. It is only in the obfuscation that things can be transformed into nightmares. And nightmares are always worse than reality, right? Reality is harsh, reality is painful, no doubt. But it is no nightmare. You can confront the real. You can face and gaze into that abyss. You know, you don't have to be bound to something like a hell, right? Look at the universe and what is present here. You know, what did they tell you is Satan? What is hell, right? Hell is a goddess, and so is Satan, Satania, right? Or Saturn. These things are so bound up in these ideas of power and politic and vilification, right? It is should be of no surprise to anyone that within certain schools of the pagan traditions, possession, daimonic possession, is the most beautiful and transcendent thing. And then that next religion that comes to seek power and displace, what is the greatest evil? Demon possession, right? You must vilify the other. You have to supplant them in order to usurp them. Narcissism of small difference. We speak in tongues, we're not being possessed. Anyway, I'm going on a ramble, but you see, it's interesting. Lots to think on. Okay. Boccaccio, the Decameron. All right. Muses got my hand. What is the message from Boccaccio? So after a long time, did they understand? So after a long time conferring together, they set me on one of their horses and brought me to a house where dwelt a community of ladies, religious according to their law. And what the men may have said, I know not, but there I was, kindly received, and ever honorably entreated by all. And with them I did afterwards most reverently pay my devotions to Saint Crescent in the Hollow, who is held in great honor by the women of that country. Saint Crescent in the Hollow. That doesn't sound like a real person. That sounds like one of these euhemerized gods that's been sanctified and Christianized, right? This person went to a pagan religious order, basically. So after a long time conferring together, they set me on one of their horses and brought me to a house where dwelt a community of ladies, religious according to their law. And what the men may have said, I know not. But there I was kindly received and ever honorably entreated by all. And with them I did afterwards most reverentially pay my devotions to Saint Crescent in the Hollow, who is held in great honor by the women of that country. You know, where is he well received, and where is he honored and accepted and offered food and rest? With the women. With the women doing their thing. You show respect and ignore the other men, and you will be received, right? Interesting. Beautiful. That's a lovely, lovely image. I'm going to have to look up more about St. Crescent in the Hollow. Okay. Goethe, Faust, Part 1. Muses guide my hand. What is the message from Goethe? Inspire us this evening. I am a frightened, silly thing to start this foolish shuddering. I wish my mother would come home. I am a frightened, silly thing to start this foolish shuddering. I wish my mother would come home. Interesting. You know, I was reading earlier about I'm doing a project doing a live stream this Sunday on Medea, and I've been reading all about these oracles, and there's always this shudder or this wind that accompanies the oracular voice. You know, I am a frightened, silly thing to start this foolish shuddering. It's like to start this shuddering, to call and ask. And what did you ask for? That mother, right? What do we all seek, really? You know, if you get rid of that religion and that image and those cultural things, when you go right back down to it at its true foundations, all of us are calling out to Mother. Always have been. Some of us call it God. Okay, let's continue. 10 Plays by Euripides. Muses guide my hand. What is the message from Euripides? Inspire us this evening. He recoils. His wounds were not deep, nothing fatal. And snatching some weapons that hung on pegs on the temple front, he takes his stand on the altar, showing fight, menacing. In a loud voice, he asks the sons of Delphi, "Why do you kill me when my mission here is pious? What am I supposed to have done to deserve death?" Also, this is interesting. Recognize, I feel like we have to understand this one in relation to the previous sortes. Previous sortes, we had a person who showed up in peaceful harmony and asked for room and board and was received openly by a group of women. And he honored their ways and honored their goddess, their saint, right? And left in peace. And now we see someone who is assaulted on the temple steps. And while it is nothing fatal, they are freaking out. They grab weapons and stand on the altar, and they demand the people of Delphi answer, why do they seek to kill him when his mission is pious? What is he supposed to have done to have deserved death? And I ask, where is all this violence coming from? Where is all this anger? Why is there any of that? You can never approach the sacred with violence. Interesting. Let's continue. All right. We're going to do one final sword taste, and then we're going to call it an evening. Call it for the sword taste and move to tarot. We're going to go to Federico Garcia Lorca, 3 Tragedies. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lorca? Inspire us. Mother, not alone, for my head is full of men and fights. Bridegroom, but now the fights are no longer just fights. Mother, not alone, for my head is full of things, of men and fights. Bridegroom, but now the fights are no longer just fights. When is fighting no longer just fighting? Right? And what is the mother occupied with? Men and fighting, trying to end the violence, Often if you just paused and listened and you listen to reason, there'd be those willing to show you another way, an alternative. This is something I often am confronted with too. People, they think that great mother is gone, or that it has been lost, or we've been completely disconnected from these pagan traditions to a point where the connection is gone and it's lost to us. This is not true. It's not true. Specific traditions may have been broken, but you can always connect to the nature, and you can always connect to that divine feminine, and you can see it everywhere if you just learn to look, if you just learn to listen and connect to people who are in that feminine energy, right? Listen to women and to non-binary people of that nature, right? And look to those stories, if that's the perspective you seek, right? There are many perspectives, many ways to imagine things, and all are worthy of pursuit, and all must be wrestled with. The mother is but one, right? Okay, let us continue. We're now going to begin our tarot proper. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. And it boosts everything in the algorithm. And if you are at all interested in a private reading, please reach out to me through email, snappyddts@gmail.com, or you can find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. We're always on there having a good time. Come say hi. Lots of beautiful people. And we'd love to have you join us. So we are going to use the Thoth Tarot of Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley. And we are going to invoke Saturn Kronos and ask them to dissect our life, to cut it up and to put it on the plate, to expose the present and to show us, how do we best evolve? How do we overcome our conflicts? How do we learn to manifest our true will? And what is the message for the community? And as always, the center card is the most important. And today's center is defeat. Defeat. Intense energy, the 5. right? 5 is that expansion energy, trying to move from the beauty of that truce, right? If we look at the 4 of Swords, we have that truth. That is that balance of perspectives of coming into harmony to produce the flower. This is trying to expand upon that harmony, upon that shared unity that has created that flower. And instead, we have now led to conflict. We've now led to defeatist attitude, right? We are not in balance as we struggle to expand. But also recognize the 5, this defeat, is one away from the 6 of science, pure reason, that middle way. What we need to do is we need to expand our perspective, expand our reasoning, and approach our situation with more thought. We are in this defeatist mode because we are not seeing things as clearly as they are. We are allowing ourselves to be overcome and to be doubtful because we are not expanding our thought. We are too invested in our own perspective and our own failures. Let's continue. Beautiful energy. All right, connected to that defeat, we see the 4 of Wands. Balanced completion, the ending of a cycle, right? What I'm seeing here is that this defeatist energy, right? This fiery energy that has led us there, that inability to be in that balance is coming to an end. This cycle is over. We are moving out of it through that balance, right? Let's continue. And what takes us out of this? How do we overcome defeat? How do we end the completion cycle for that passion energy? It's all coming down to this pursuit of new love, new connections, new relationships, moving in community, right? How do we expand that perspective? How do we gain that reason? Through connecting with others, through sharing with others, through filling that cup and being in that reciprocal energy, being willing to give and receive, right? Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's continue. All right. Oh, I love this. We here have the Princess of Wands, that beautiful divine child in the suit of the wands, the fiery of fire, right? This is new love, new passion, Medea, that intense energy of pursuing desire, right? Of love in all of its intensity, whether it is willing to sacrifice itself entirely for something or destroy the world entirely for something, but also recognize this energy is so much potential. And with growth and education, right? This connects us to that Hierophant energy that is our theme for the day, right? With that education and nurturing, with teaching, she can become anything. She can grow to become that Queen of Wands, that inspiring muse, that artistic beauty, that confident, prideful power. Or even greater still, she could be that empress, that perfected divine woman, or even greater still, the completed universe itself, right? But she must be nurtured and cared for. She must be loved and respected. And we also must recognize her intensity in the fire of her nature, right? Interesting. There's a wound here. There's sorrow here. There's sadness, right? That sword, the sadness, it comes from that defeatist energy, being unable to fully let go, being unable to see things clearly. Again, like when you look, we're in the 3. We want to expand to the balance of that 4, right? We are in sorrow because we are alone. We are not working in unity. We are not sharing in perspective. We're not in that harmony. Instead, we are expanding our perspective, but it is holding us back, right? We need to work together to come into that balance to see things clearly. Otherwise, we can only fixate upon the negative, the sorrow, right? When I see this sword card, I think of seeing one side of the coin, right? Suffering without love. But love is there. Love is there if you would only look at the other side, right? And she is that other side. Yeah. Overcoming that sorrow is about this new fiery approach, this new birth, this new intensity, connecting to that muse, right? We have ended that one cycle and we are beginning a new cycle anew. And it is about giving birth to this passionate energy and taking responsibility for it, overcoming the sorrow and the defeat. We saw this negativity yesterday, right? But today we are overcoming it. The cycles are completing. Interesting. Yeah, wow. Connected to the bottom, this defeat, and to that Princess of Wands energy, right? This is all about these two energies reflect each other in harmony, the greater and the lesser, right? And this is beautiful because the lust card, the strength card, that great mother, Lady Mystery Babylon, who rides upon the beast, who flips the poles, who draws down the star. How do we overcome that defeatist energy and give birth to this? It's by being in that divine feminine connection, right? It's by applying that strength. When we think of the energy of the strength card, I always think of in the earlier Marseille deck, you will see that image of the great mother comforting the lion. Sometimes you'll see her with a unicorn. And what this is about is the mother transforms that violent beast into the protector, right? She rides upon the beast. The beast is now her savior. And together they flip the poles, right? And this is that energy of learning to approach violence with love, right? Of using that forgiveness to overcome and transform things, right? That power, but through that feminine lens. Okay, let's continue. And what is this about? Artistic creation, consummation, fulfillment, giving birth to new creative projects, the coming together of two beings in loving harmony. Wow, such beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy. Incredible. You know, we see here the creation of the divine androgyne, right? The coming together of the red and the white, the lion and the eagle to form that integrated, perfected new form, right? In that cup of creation. Giving birth to the self, that golden egg, the Hiranyagarbha, right? Of the Hindu tradition. This is about that pursuit of creation with that other. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And having the strength to do that, right? And that gives birth to her. Wow. And what's this about? How do we connect to this art? Love. Wow. It's about love, in the pursuit of love. This is incredible energy here. That love will lead to that art and will lead to that strength, right? The masculine and the feminine coming together to draw down the star, to flip the pole, right? To overcome that defeat, to give birth to that divine child to come, right? To set fire to the flame, to light the way forward, right? To fill that cup. Wow. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to flip the cards and we'll take a deeper look. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference, and I would really appreciate it. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, reach out to me, Snappy, DDTS, at gmail.com, or you can find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. All right, let's take a look. Here we have our full Saturn square on display. The key to overcoming the sorrow and ending this cycle of sorrow and suffering that has been plaguing us, it's all about this artistic creation, this connection, right? Coming together in loving harmony with an other in that loving co-creation, right? Drawing down the star and having the strength to do so in unity. Wow. The cycle has run its course. We are creating and giving birth to the new. That is beautiful, beautiful energy. Let's go here. We are in this defeatist mode, right? We are struggling and facing the struggles of the moment. But if we apply that reason and recognize where are we at here? We have that Lady Babylon, that mystery Babylon, that lust, that strength, right? That great mother energy who is flipping and changing the poles and giving birth to a new reality, who is reincarnating in the flesh in our present as that divine virgin, right? We need to see this with reason, recognize the moment, recognize what's happening right now. Where are you? Do you see the world? Don't let the fear-mongering overcome you. Go out into the woods for a second. See where we're at. You'll know what I mean. Okay, let's go here. That filling of the cup. When we pursue love and we are in that divine flow, when we are giving and receiving in that reciprocity, right? In that sharedness, when we are open to the new, that is when we also receive new passions, new inspiration. When we light our torches and we can shine our light in that darkness and overcome the darkness and persist and move and flow. And it leads to that love and connection, that harmony. When we are willing to receive and to give, and when we are willing to pursue love with that passion, the love comes in. That is beautiful and magical. You know, and just the beginning of that journey, that love creates that art, which gives birth to that princess, right? And that unity of lovers is manifested as that Lady Babylon, woman and beast. Let's continue. All right. We're going to look at our crosses. We start here. That defeat and that sorrow, right? Look at these in both iterations, right? The sorrow can be overcome through new perspective, through expanded perspective. We transform that 3 into 4. We get truce. The combination of perspectives gives birth to that flower, right? How do we expand this perspective? Through love. And again, the defeat. The defeat is here because we are not seeing things from a full perspective. We are limited in our approach and are being harsh on ourselves. We are being overly critical. We are not seeing the beauty around us. But what will show us? That love connection, that other perspective. You must let other people in to help you expand so that you can grow into that science, that reason, so that you can grow into that truth. Beautiful, beautiful energy there. Right? And look here. That artistic creation, that coming together with this other, with this lover, right? It leads to this muse, to this new inspiring pursuit, right? This expansive creative direction, that fire, right? And we just need to overcome this defeatist energy. We just need to really embrace the moment, pursue that love, right? Recognize this connection and the power of this connection, what it is giving birth to, what it is creating in the universe. Recognize the moment here. Be receptive. Embrace love. Connect to that feminine and that mask, right? That Lady Babylon is that unity of forms, actualized in love, in harmony, that gives birth to the new. All right, everyone. I think the message is clear. Expand your perspective, connect in loving harmony, create art, give birth to that divine child, pursue inspiration. That's the message. I hope it was inspiring. It was certainly inspiring for me and resonated deeply. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's do one final sortes and we'll call it an evening. We're going to go back to Euripides. 10 plays. All right. Muses, what is the message from Euripides? Inspire us this evening. Did you despair when they led me in and were about to hurl me into Pentheus's dark dungeon? This is funny, okay? Because this comes to us from the Bacchae. And the person saying this, it says the stranger, but we would know that this is the god Dionysus. And he's speaking to his congregation. And he says, did you despair when they led me in and were about to hurl me into Pentheus's dark dungeons? Right? Even if Pentheus were to destroy him, he's Dionysus. And he could end it all in a second. It's all a game that he is playing. He holds all the cards. So he's kind of even laughing at his own followers. Were you really worried about me? Are you worried about me? Beautiful. So that's the message here, you know. That Dionysian energy too, we have to recognize that it is part and parcel of that feminine. It is the masculine. It is that masculine perceived through that feminine ideal, if we were to quote someone like Carl Coretti, right? He is that lover of women and the one who aids the maenads, you know? So when I see this, I think this is about not worrying about that feminine, not worrying about where things are going. Are you worried when they came after her and tried to pursue her? When they came after Dionysus and they mocked him at the Olympics and whatnot? They got nothing. The cycles are changing. The poles are flipping. Things are moving in a different way. Don't listen to the fear-mongering. Go out in nature. See for yourself. All right. Peace and love, everyone. I hope I see you again tomorrow. And I hope I see you at Dr. Ammon's Greek lesson. Take care, everyone.